What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. After Sound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. All right, well, we have some interesting changes to the ranked battle and league ratings that it seems to be going into effect within the next week or two here. We have some changes that are coming in next week, and then some that are coming in after the end of the believe next season, not this season. So we'll see how it goes. So let's go ahead and just jump right in. We have some mana cap changes, which is going to be interesting. The mana cap logic is a bit complicated, according to the post here, with things like the mana cap only incrementing by 2 between 40 and 60. Yeah, I always wondered why there was never any odd numbers there. So they're trying to simplify it. Basically, they're putting maximum mana caps on different leagues. So on Novice and Bronze, it's going to be 40. Silver is 50, which is actually being reduced. So it's going from 60 to 50 in Silver, which is interesting. And then in Gold, Diamond, and Champ, it is now going to be 60 as the maximum mana cap. Now, there is still going to be a probability of an unlimited mana cap or 99 mana cap battle, but that's being reduced from 4% down to 2%, which will make it roughly as likely to occur as any other individual mana cap, I believe, across the board. So you'll still, I believe, again, there hasn't been anything here that said you would not get a 99 mana cap, right? Because that's treated separately, or like an unlimited mana cap is treated separately. So you can still get that in Novice, Bronze, and Silver. But what it seems like is that they're trying to squash it down a little bit so that you have an even amount of getting, even chance of getting all of these different mana caps. So if you're a fan of the 99 mana cap, then sorry, this sucks for you. I feel like I get it a lot, and maybe it's just because I don't have any of those like behemoths and Rift Watchers, or not enough of them, that I've never been even close to filling it up. So I don't think that it'll impact me too much. I actually don't mind mid to even lower mana cap games. So hopefully this isn't going to be something that upsets the community overall. But I do like the fact that they approached it with a little more logic, and they're trying to make it even across the board. And these changes are going to go live on February 28th. So within just a couple of days here. All right, so they do have, and this to me is the meat of it, but league rating and rating reset changes. So the only ratings that are changing are in Champion, which are Champion 3, Champion 2, and Champion 1. It seems as though it's going to be significantly easier now to get to Champion 1. Before, this used to be 3,700 for Champion 3, 4,200 because it was a 500 rather than 300 as you see across most of the other thresholds here. In Champion, once you get to Champion 3 to get up to Champion 2 is a 500 increase in rating, and then you need another 500 increase in rating to get to a 4,700 rating. Now that has been changed. It is 300 across the board, so you get into Champ 3 and you only need to get, similar to all the other leagues, an additional 300 rating. So it's 4,000 and then 4,300. So I'm this doesn't affect me because I don't really play in Champ. I've made it there like once or twice, again with a ton of help from either rented or delegated cards. I tend to play more in Gold and Diamond, and I think that this is just going to be better for Champion. I think last season was probably a good indicator of the fact that competition has gotten much more stiff. Maybe there's just less rating inflation across just due to the fact that there's less players now. A lot of the bots have gone offline, and so I think that's going to be a great thing. And I know folks like Darkest Night, and I'm sure many other Champ players out there are going to feel happy about being able to get to Champ 1 a little bit easier. Now, the other part of this, and again, the bigger part that affects everybody, is the league rating and reset change, or sorry, the rating reset changes. So at the end of season, normally you go down. They have it here. It's not as simple as like you go down a full league below it, right? Like if you were a Gold 1, then you go down to Silver 1. Obviously, yes, that was the case. If you were in Gold 1, the old reset would get you down to 1,600, which would be which would be in Silver 1, right? At the crux of Silver 1. But you can see here that just if we go from the bottom up, right? Once you get out of Bronze now, and they'll cover this more a little bit later, you don't reset and you don't go back to Bronze. Once you get out of Novice, you don't go back to Novice. So let's take a look here. With Novice, you don't reset. So if you're in Novice, you play a couple games, season ends, you don't go back down to 0. In Bronze 3 now, before you could actually reset all the way down to Novice, and that is no longer the case. You just go down to the lowest part, which is 100, right? Um, Now, Bronze 2, Bronze 3, all of those are still the same. Where it starts to get more interesting, at least in my opinion, is once you get into the higher leagues, right? So if we look at Silver, for example, and the reason I'm focusing on Silver 1 is because of the fact that now, if you make it to Silver 1, which is a rating of 1600, before you used to drop down to 900, which would be kind of like in the smack dab middle of Bronze 1. But what they're essentially doing is allowing you to drop to the bottom of Silver 3. And it's going to be the same thing for Gold, where, Gold, you can make it up as high as whatever, and then instead of dropping down to 1600, which is Silver 1, you drop down to 1900, which is Gold 3. So you are staying within the same league, something that I absolutely love. And obviously the same thing for Diamond as well. Now, the reason I think that this is important is because I, for one, hated the fact that if I play in Gold, I like the meta in Gold especially. I make it up to Gold 1. I could be on the leaderboards in Gold 1, or even people on the leaderboards in Gold 1. You would still go down to Silver 1, at the bottom of Silver 1, and be required to play in a league that's not really your meta at the top of that league, essentially, and fight your way back to Gold, right? Or vice versa. Same thing with like Gold and Diamond. And what I didn't like about that is that you spend probably a day or two just trying to get back out. You're getting less reward shares, and you probably still have a higher level chest, right, that you're trying to achieve. So now it's like, if you made it to the top point of this league, you're not going to go to the bottom league anymore. If you make it to Gold 1, you stay in Gold, right? You drop down to Gold 3, and if you lose, right, your first couple of battles in Gold 3, sure, you dip down into Silver a little bit, but it's not like you have to go all of Silver 1, which is 300 rating points. So ultimately, I do really, really like this change. I think that this is going to be great overall and create less of a beginning of season headache for most players. Like, most players didn't want to play at the beginning of the season. I mean, I remember when I first, started using Archmage or any of the botting services, I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a break during the first couple of days because the competition is so hard. Everybody dropped down, like all these high level, Diamond players are now playing in Gold, and they're just trying to get back up to Diamond. And so I was just like, let the bot play, because I can't handle the stress of losing 15 games in a row, right? So now, hopefully that shouldn't be the case. Obviously, you're dropping back down to Gold, and but you're playing within your competition, which I really like. You're not going to get people from the higher leagues dropping down into your league, and they probably have overpowered cards, maybe even a better card collection. Again, they're still playing within the same rule sets, and they're still playing within the same league sets that you have to. But at the end of the day, like, people who are playing at the higher levels probably have better collections overall, right? So they're coming down, and for like the Silver 3 players who are expecting to face off against like Silver, other Silver 3, Silver 2 players, now you're getting like Gold players, right? That would be coming down and essentially having to fight them, and they're probably better collections, maybe even more leveled up collections if you're not even maxed for Silver or something like that. And then looking at Champ, you do stay in Champ 2, which is actually really interesting. So at 4,300, you're just going to drop back down. If you make it to Champ 1, you start off in Champ, and I think that's going to be huge for Champ players. So additionally, players who have not played any ranked battles in a particular format in the current season will not drop down in rating at all at the end of the season. This is so that players who take a break from the game will remain at the same rating and league in which they left, rather than falling all the way back down to bronze and having to slog their way back up. I think that this is great too, because if you want to take a season off, and again, it has to be a full season, right? So if you play a single game within that season, I think you're still going to get dropped down. But again, if you're off for like the season after that, or let's say after the season ends, you're just like, you know what? I'm going to be on vacation for 2 weeks, or I don't want to do anything for 2 weeks. I'm just going to rent my cards out, whatever the case is. If you don't play any battle, then you stay right there. You come back in and you pick up where you left off. So I really do like that. And this is the one that says, please note these changes are not planned to go live until after the end of the current ranked play season. So the end of season change will first take effect at the end of next season. So we won't really feel that again for probably another 2 weeks. Or no, it's not 2 weeks, but 3 weeks. And then this is cool for new players. Everybody who's like screaming about new player experience, this we know that this is going to come out in bits and pieces, and I think this is a really good bit here. So finally, we've been making following changes to Novice League, which will help get ready for a larger effort around improving the new player experience, which they plan to work on over the next couple of months. So the rating reset for Bronze 3, as we saw, will be changed to 100, meaning that you don't, Bronze players who play in Bronze 3 will not drop back down to Novice League at the end of the season. And once you hit Bronze, players will not be able to fall below 100 rating from losses either. So if you're at 100 rating and you just keep on losing games, you will not drop back back into Novice. You are now in Bronze, and you will stay there. Again, obviously at the bottom. So this means that once a player gets there, they'll never fall back down to Novice, and therefore Novice League players will no longer be facing Bronze League bots. I thought that was interesting. Now, here's where it gets even better. In order to ensure that new players can find an opponent, Splinterlands will be running special bots in Novice League that will not earn rewards or gain ratings and will be programmed to play relatively poorly against new players. Additionally, wins in Novice League have always or will always be awarded a fixed 10 rating points. So new players will need to win 10 battles in Novice. Because keep in mind, if you lose a battle in Novice, you don't go down, right? It's just a matter of winning 10 battles, which I think is a reasonable amount to say that you understand the game, understand the meta, before you can move up to Bronze. And then once you're in Bronze, you're in, right? You're in with the real people, or the real bots, right? Ones that are going to be coming for your lunch money. So these changes aim to make Novice League really more like an extended part of the tutorial in order to give new players more time to get familiar with the game in a controlled environment. As part of that, we'll be adding new messaging that will show when a player moves into Bronze from Novice League that will attempt to explain that in order to be competitive in the game, they'll need to buy or rent necessary cards. They'll provide links to that. So again, this is all part of the new player experience. I really, really like where this is going. Obviously, this doesn't just affect new players, but the rating changes, I think, is going to be great. So overall, this, I don't know how big of a coding change this is, but it's definitely a big logic change into how the game is structured from from a league rating and rating reset perspective. So I'm a big fan of it. We were teased this in the roadmap early in the year, and I wasn't sure what it quite meant, but I think this is very clear now in terms of the direction that they're going. I don't know, when we saw that kind of teaser in the roadmap, I don't know if that was like something to attack ratings inflation or whatever the case is, but ultimately, I'm not going to worry about ratings inflation right now. I'm sure other folks are going to dig into that more, and I don't know that it would necessarily be affected as much, but from a player perspective and how I enjoy the game, I definitely like these changes, and I think that it will be better for new players coming in with the whole new Novice League tutorial and then getting into Bronze and all that fun stuff. So that is all I have for you guys in this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, how you're feeling about it, if you see any pitfalls or stuff that I might have been blind to in the post. But otherwise, I will catch you all in the next video and see you around the game. Take care.